Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to the second video on the ABH Riviera palette. In this video, I'm going to compare the Riviera palette with some of my Juvia's Place eyeshadow palettes. So I have so many Juvia's Place eyeshadow palettes. I think there are 8 of them, and I'm going to compare all of these palettes with the Riviera palette. Now this Riviera palette is of course a colorful palette. When I saw it the first time, I was immediately reminded of the Juvia's Place palettes. Now I don't have some of the Juvia's Place palettes like the Afrique eyeshadow palette, then the Saharan 2, and then some of the neutral palettes which they have recently released, the bronze one and the matte neutral. Now for the palettes which I don't have, like the Afrique eyeshadow palette, I feel there may be 1 or 2 shades which are comparable with the Riviera palette, but I'm sorry, I won't be able to compare because I don't have that palette. And the other palette, which is Saharan 2, I don't think there are many shades which are similar between the Riviera and the Saharan 2. So I think I'm not missing anything out there. But I do have the other 8 Juvia's Place palettes. All of them, the Masquerade Mini, the Saharan original by Juvia's Place, then Zulu, then I also have Tribe. We don't have anything similar here, but still. We have a Douche, we have the Festival by Juvia's, we also have Nubian 2, and I have the Magic. So let's get started with the comparison. I will be comparing each and every Juvia's Place palette I own with the Riviera palette. So without much further ado, let's get started with today's video. Okay, so here is my Riviera palette, and the first Juvia's Place palette I will compare it with is the Magic by Juvia's Place. So these are the 2 palettes, and when you look at them, at first glance, since they're colorful, you may feel like okay, there may be similar shades, but there is not a lot of similar shades in both the palettes. They are very different. I just wish that these kind of deeper blues were there in this palette. It would have been just perfect. But there are a few shades in both the palettes. When you look at them, you feel like they may be similar, so I'll just swatch them. So in ABH, these 2 shimmer shades, and in Juvia's, these 2 shimmer shades, they are on the similar side, but they are not at all same. So I'll just swatch them quickly. So here is ABH shade, then you have this one which is a silvery shade. I'll just swatch here. Next, let me swatch these 2 from the Juvia's Place palettes. So this is the first shade. There is a little bit of similarity between these 2 shades. Anastasia one is a little bit more silvery. That's the only difference. And then we will swatch this one, which is like a lavendery purpley shimmer shade, sort of a duochrome but not exactly. So that is a little bit similar to the first one right here. Not exactly the same, but yes, it's very similar. Let me swatch this one as well, which is like a bluish shimmer, so that you can see. So here you go. So these are some of the shades from both the palettes. These 2 are from ABH and these 3 from Magic, which are somewhat similar. Next, I will swatch this one with this shade, which they look quite similar to the naked eye, but let's swatch them so that we can see. This shade is just fantastic in the ABH palette. This is how the shade looks like, very intense, very smooth. And let me swatch the Juvia's Place shade right here. This is how the Juvia's Place one looks like. The Juvia's Place one has a little bit more gold, I would say, and the ABH one is more on the champagne-y side. Then we have one more shade right here, which is this yellow gold, and here you have another yellow gold. This is more dusty yellow gold, and this is more vibrant. I'll just swatch them, but they are not the same. This is the ABH one, and the Juvia's one is a little bit more deeper yellow gold. So I think apart from that, I don't see any other shades which are similar. So let's move on to the next palette. The next palette which I have is the Festival by Juvia's Place, and this one is a very interesting palette. I think right away we will see some similarities between these 2 palettes in the mattes. Now, like for example, these 3 shades here are very similar to these 3 shades right here, and you have a blue shimmer shade, you have a blue shimmer shade right here, and you have this champagne shimmer, and you also have a similar shade right here. We have a shimmery white, but we have a matte white here, and yeah, then we have a lot of similarities. So let's quickly swatch. So first of all, let's swatch the pink shade, which is like screaming at us. So here is the pink from ABH, and here is the pink from Juvia's Place. I did build up the Juvia's Place pink a little bit, but I think it's just the way I'm swatching. Both the pinks are really good. They are very comparable, and quality wise also I think they're very similar, very nicely pigmented. Next, let's swatch this shade right here, which is called Coastline from ABH. So this is like a light peachy pink shade. This one I will have to build up a little bit on my skin tone. So here is a shade Coastline, which is like a light peachy pink. Let me swatch the Juvia's one here, which is a more brighter peach than pink. So this is how Juvia's one looks like. As you can see, at one swipe the Juvia's one gives a lot of color payoff. Pigmentation is great, and I think on my skin tone the Juvia's one will show up much better. And next, of course, we have this shade right here, and this one also I will have to build up a little bit. So that's the ABH shade. So that's the Juvia's shadow. The first one is ABH, second one is Juvia's. The Juvia's one is of course more yellow. It's more on the yellow ochre side. Let me quickly compare the blues as well. I don't think there's a lot of similarity in the blues, because the ABH one is more punchy blue. So this is the ABH one. The Juvia's one is definitely going to be more deeper. This is how the Juvia's blue is. Okay, next I think we'll quickly swatch this shade as well. Here, this is the ABH shade. This is the Juvia's. So yeah, both these colors are quite similar, but this one is more pink champagne toned. This one is more of a gold champagne toned. So these are all the shades which are, I think, similar in both these palettes. As I said, this is a shimmery metallic white, and this is a matte white, so no point swatching. So that's the comparison of this palette. The next palette which I have is the Douce Palette by Juvia's, and here I think not much similarities are there. I think only one or two shades. For example, this pink shade right here, this is a little bit deeper, this is a little bit lighter, and other than that, the brown also, this is lighter, this is deeper. Other than that, I don't see a lot of similarities. I'll just quickly swatch this pink shade. So I'll just swatch this. So that's the Juvia's Place, and this is the ABH. Very different tones. ABH is much deeper. I don't really have to build up the color as well. So yeah, not a lot of similarities in both of these two palettes. Very different shades. Next we have the Masquerade Mini Palette. So this is how the palette looks like. Now in this one also I thought I will find a lot of similarities, but actually there are not many similarities. This pink is a shimmery pink, and this is a matte pink. This is a matte purple, but this purple is very different from this purple, and all of these blues and greens are quite different. The only shade which I can compare between the two palettes is this one, these two, and this one. Other than that, I don't see a lot of similarities, so I'll just quickly swatch the blue. Here is the ABH blue, and here is the Juvia's Place blue. These could be very similar, very similar. The ABH one has a slight green tint, like very slightly. Both are very pastel-y, so I think we have something similar between both these palettes. And the other shade which I will swatch is again this one. This is there in so many palettes. That's ABH. And then we have this one from Juvia's. Both should be very similar, yes. So you can see both are quite similar. Other than that, there are not many similarities. Maybe the pink one, slightly similar. I'll just quickly swatch. So here is the pink from ABH. And here is the bright pink from Juvia's. This bright pink from Juvia's is not exactly like a shimmer. It's a matte, but infused with glitter. So both can be used as matte eyeshadows. The Juvia's Place one is a little bit deeper. The ABH one is more brighter. So those are the shades which I think are similar between both of these two palettes. Okay, next palette quickly is the Tribe by Juvia's Place. Do we even try? I don't think there is any similarity between these two palettes. Very different. let's move on to the next one. The next one which I have is the Zulu by Juvia's, and I think here we will find some similarities. Clearly our eyes go straight to these two blues. We'll swatch them and see how similar are they. And here we have the two purples. We'll swatch and see how similar are they. And other than that, I don't think we see a lot of similarities. Maybe the two browns as well. Let's just compare the browns too. This is how the ABH blue looks like. Next, let's watch the Juvia's. I think we'll get some similarity here. And yes, you get a lot of similarity. The Juvia's one is a tad bit more brighter and it's very, very smooth. The quality is just great. Next, we will swatch this purple. I think the ABH purple will be a little bit lighter. Look at this purple, it's so beautiful. One swipe will get so much pigmentation. And for Juvia's, we will swatch here. Juvia's one is also really, really nicely pigmented. Let me swatch a little bit more. Okay, so there you go. The Juvia's and ABH, very similar. I think the Juvia's one looks a little bit darker in the pan, but when you swatch them, they are very, very similar. Let me swatch the brown too. Okay, that's the Juvia's brown, very, very different. I can right away tell you that. The ABH one is more deeper, more chocolatey, very different. So the browns are not same. So that's the Zulu palette. We have two more palettes to go. The next palette which I have is the Nubian 2, which is one of the older palettes from Juvia's. So here I don't think we will find a lot of similarities. Maybe the browns, but we don't really care about the browns. We are looking at the colors. I love this color from Nubian 2. Let's compare this one with this one. And the golds, maybe we can compare. Other than that, yeah, we don't have a lot of similarities. So we'll just quickly compare the yacht shade. Here is the yacht shade. Let's quickly swatch this shade from Juvia's Place. I know they're not similar, but I love the Juvia's Place shade. The ABH one is slightly lighter and more pink champagne tone, and the Juvia's Place one is more deeper, more taupey brown. Both of these shades are really, really beautiful. I love both these shades. They're not similar. I will just swatch this gold just to see how similar they are. This is the ABH gold. The Juvia's one is more deeper, little bit more muted, and the ABH one is more brighter. So between both of these palettes, other than the browns maybe, there are not many similar shades. So that's the Nubian 2, and I have one more palette which is the Saharan palette. This is how the Saharan palette looks like. And between these two shades, there are a few shades like this one and this one which can be compared. So first let's compare this one, this plummy burgundy shade from ABH. This is a shimmer. This is how this one looks like. It's a pinky, plummy burgundy shimmer. Very, very beautiful. Swatch this one. But I think the Juvia's one is lighter. Yes, that's how it is. The Juvia's one is much more lighter. Other than that, I don't really see a lot of similarities. Maybe we can swatch this one again with the Zoya shade from Juvia's. I'll just show you. We'll swatch this one. There is a tiny bit of similarity between these two shades, but the ABH one is definitely more punchy. This is again a matte and this is a shimmer, so no point swatching. So yeah, those are some of the shades which are somewhat similar but not exactly. So to sum it up, out of all the 7 palettes which I swatched, there are some similarities in the Magic palette, the Festival palette, the Zulu, and the Masquerade mini. So if you have any of these 4 Juvia's Place palettes and you want to order the ABH Riviera palette, just go to the shades one more time and see if you already have those shades, and then maybe you can make a more informed decision. Because I think we found pretty good dupes for the shades which are in the Riviera palette. I think we found dupes for almost all of the shades, barring the white matte shade and this shade, and maybe the brown, not an exact dupe of the brown, but all the other shades I think we were pretty close. So if you have all of the Juvia's Place palettes like I do, then just analyze a little bit more if you really want the Riviera palette, because I think you might have a very close collection of the ABH shades which are there in the Riviera palette. But if you really want to try the ABH Riviera palette, I think you can go for it. The quality is really good. I have a full review and swatch video already up on my channel. I will link that in the description box. So that's it for today's video. I really hope it was helpful. If you liked it, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. And if you are watching me for the first time, I really hope you'll consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you again really soon in my next video. Bye.